Rain on a tin roof usually knocked me out. A steady, dull percussion that swallowed the city and left only clean edges, wood-grain straight lines, and the honest weight of tools. That night, the rain wasn't the loudest thing on the block. Cardboard scraped over wet pavement. A box thudded. Another dragged. And underneath it all, the small, broken sound of someone trying to cry without letting the whole neighborhood hear. I stood at the mouth of my garage with a mug of black coffee, warming my hands, watching the driveway next door turn into a disaster scene under a flickering street lamp. Magnolia Ruiz moved like she was fighting the world and losing by inches. She was 36, sharp enough to cut glass, usually the kind of woman who walked with purpose and made other people step aside. Tonight, she looked smaller, not weak, just pressed down by something that wouldn't stop pressing. A soaked tank top clung to her hair, stuck to her neck, and she was wrestling a soggy box into the back of a hatchback that looked 2 sizes too small for her life. The trunk wouldn't close. She shoved. It bounced. Then her shoulder hit the latch and she froze, breathing hard, blinking fast at the rain like it had personally offended her. Water ran down her cheeks. Maybe it was rain. Maybe it wasn't. She didn't wipe it away either way. I should have gone back inside. My life was built for quiet, for repeatable systems. My chisels were arranged by size. My clamps hung in neat rows. I swept the shop floor twice a day because disorder was a termite. I didn't let it in. I built custom furniture because wood didn't lie to you, and it didn't change the terms halfway through the month. But the trunk still wouldn't close, and Magnolia's hands were shaking as she tried again. I stepped out into the rain. "You're going to ruin those books," I called, voice cutting through the downpour. Magnolia spun around like she'd been waiting for the world to take one more shot. She wiped her face with the heel of her hand, smearing water across her cheek. "River," she said, flat as a slammed door. "Go away. I don't need an audience. I'm not an audience." I nodded toward the open hatch. "I'm a neighbor with a tarp." I didn't wait for permission. I went back into my shop, grabbed the heavy canvas drop cloth I used for staining, and carried it out. The rain slapped it as I threw it over the open trunk, tucking the edges down like I was covering a half-finished table. Magnolia watched me for a beat, jaw tight. "Barry kick you out?" I asked, leaning against her car, ignoring the water soaking my gray t-shirt. "He gave me 3 days," she snapped, voice shaking with rage, trying to sound like control. "Said he's renovating so he can double the rent. Legally, he can't. Practically." She jerked her chin toward the porch. "He changed the locks while I was at the grocery store. My stuff is on the steps like trash." I looked at the pile boxes, a suitcase, a lamp with a crooked shade, a laundry basket, things shoved into plastic bags like someone had packed a life in a hurry. 3 days isn't enough to find a place in this market, I said. "No kidding." She swallowed, eyes flicking once to the street, then back. "I'm going to a motel." With all this, I gestured. "You'll be paying storage fees before midnight." Her fingers curled around the edge of a box, hard enough to warp the cardboard. "I don't have a choice, River." The words left my mouth before I could measure them. "You could move in with me," I said like it was a joke I didn't have to own. "I've got dry floors and too much square footage." She went still. Rain dripped off the tip of her nose. Her eyes searched my face for the punchline I hadn't written. "Ha," she said, and there wasn't a single laugh in it. "Good night, River." She climbed into the hatchback, slammed the door, and the taillights vanished down the street. I stood in the rain for a long second, with the tarp sagging on my arm, feeling like an idiot who'd offered a life preserver and forgotten to check if he could swim. When I went back inside, the silence wasn't peaceful. It was heavy. The next morning, the rain stopped and left the world smelling like wet asphalt and ozone. I was in the shop running walnut through the planer when a knock hit the side door, short, precise, like the person on the other side didn't believe in wasting motions. I shut off the machine. The sudden quiet rushed in. Magnolia stood in the doorway, hair-damp trench coat over yesterday's clothes travel mug clutched in her hand like it was the only warm thing she trusted. The tremor in her fingers shook the coffee inside the lid. Her eyes kept darting to the street, expecting a familiar figure to appear out of nowhere. "Was that a joke?" she asked. I wiped my hands on a rag, buying half a second. "Was what a joke last night?" She didn't blink. "Move in with me. Was that a joke? Or an offer?" My instincts started drawing red lines in my head. Complication? Risk. Temporary people broke permanent routines, but Magnolia stood there anyway, chin up, like she'd rather choke on pride than ask twice. "The guest unit's empty," I said. "It's storage right now, lumber and finishes. It's not a hotel. I don't need a hotel." Her grip tightened on the mug. "I need a door that locks and a landlord who isn't Barry." "I charge rent," I said, testing the edges. "I pay rent," she shot back. "Market rate, half market rate," I said. "And you cook 3 nights a week." Her eyebrows lifted. "Excuse me, I eat takeout over the sink," I said. "It's depressing. You cook real food. I smell it over the fence." "That's the deal." For the first time, the corners of her mouth twitched, not quite a smile, but something that said she'd found a crack of normal in the wreckage. "Deal," she said. By noon, her life was in my living room. And by late afternoon, the arrangement stopped feeling like a joke and started looking like a full-scale move. A black pickup rolled into my driveway, like a moving crew with a heartbeat. The bed was loaded with boxes, a laundry basket stuffed with towels, a folded comforter, and a pink pillow that had no business anywhere near my Spartan house. Magnolia climbed down from the passenger side and met my eyes over the tailgate. Sunlight caught in her hair, warm and almost gentle,